Hello friends, Chef Mark here, and I'm at the Urban Homestead. A little different today for our video. Now that I have an urban homestead, a home near Denver with a big workshop, I'm able to take on projects other than just cooking. And cooking is very important, but working on projects to make time in the kitchen is important. Make good time in the kitchen is important as well. So that brings me to a problem with these meat mallets. I love these big aluminum meat mallets. Wood handle, they're four-sided, well they're three-sided. They have a really big pounding kind of side here for breaking down and tenderizing, and then a little finer, then finally a flat side on either side for kind of fine honing. But you know, these darn things, the handles are always so loose after just a few, I don't know, weeks. And in fact, the other day I was flattening some chicken and the head just popped off. So I got to investigating here, what the heck's going on? And there's this little aluminum wedge that helps hold the handle on, and the handle just pops off. This seems to be, I don't know what kind of wood this is, but maybe pine. A wood handle's good. You want a wood handle because it dampens the vibration, and it will hold on it when attached properly. But I gotta tell you, this is not a great solution. So I'm going to apply some of the same lessons that you learn when you're working with axe heads to hold on that mallet head. And just like a hammer or an axe, how do you attach a wood handle to a metal tool? Well, that's the age-old question. This is a handle that I reattached, and it's just kind of a messy job. It's an old ball peen hammer that my dad gave me years and years ago. But this kind of illustrates what happens here. You have a split in the handle, and then that split's called the kerf. That's where it's split, and then you put a wedge in there to spread the handle out this direction, and then these metal wedges then further expand it so that handle's on there. Really good. I bought this handle, and the first time I chopped with it, this head almost flew off. So I just kind of started experimenting on how to get a good handle, a good grip on the end of the handle, and this works great. So let's get started. First things first. I went ahead and I've got two here. Because you know, darn it, I buy these things, the handle falls off, and then I go and I buy another one thinking, oh, that was a one-time thing, but it's not a one-time thing. I've found that these aren't just, they're just not on there very, very tightly. Okay, so one of the first things we want to do is scrape this varnish off. And that's important. I've discovered that what happens is this varnish, whatever they put on there, kind of seals the wood really well from, you know, contaminants and things like that. But it gets so dry that as it dries, you can see how much this is split compared to this one. Well, they're both pretty bad, but this one's not as bad. And what we want to do is pull this varnish off so that we can get this wood hydrated. So let me show you some tips on that. Okay, so what you want to use is a knife. This is a bushcrafting knife. I even use an old chef knife if it's damaged. And I'm just going to scrape this varnish off, and you can see this goes pretty quickly. Just a few swipes. You know, if you're worrying about dulling your knife, just use any straight edge. Something sharp though. I actually have an old chef knife that's damaged that I do this with as well. You can see here, almost completely done there. We're going to replace this varnish with the right thing, and that's boiled linseed oil. It's really the best thing for the job, and I'll explain why here. You want to get under where the mallet was, and then off to the other side. Now, if I was doing something like an expensive axe handle or tool handle, I'd probably spend a little bit more time on this. But these mallets, I bought them for $10 or $15. So they're not extremely expensive, but they're hard to find. These days, they don't really exist in the restaurant supply store anymore. And this is the style I like, that big, kind of lightweight aluminum head. So it has plenty of surface area, and it doesn't damage your product when you're tenderizing or flattening. Okay, so I'm fairly happy with that. Make sure you get the head, okay, and the ends. This is just a bushcrafting knife that I purchased online for, I think it was $20. It's actually a really nice knife. I enjoy it. I've been using it for quite a few things. It's heavy duty, wood handle. Extremely happy with how well it's been working for these kind of tasks. Okay. All right, and on the urban homestead, it's important that you stay warm. It's cold in here, so I've got the little heater going, my hat, and I tell you, we've got snow falling right now. I just love that we get all these seasons in Denver. Okay, that's gonna do the trick. So we're going to use this wedge, press in there. This is gonna go fairly deep, and then we're gonna cut that off. So we're going to seat this, okay? And this is how you seat one of these. We wanna make sure actually that we have enough of a connection there. So a couple of things you can do is if you push with both thumbs on the back of the knife, you can whittle away a little extra material so it'll seat a little bit deeper. And I discovered that pushing with both thumbs on the back of the knife really is the best way. I have a little bit of a knot there, and my knife doesn't want to go through that knot, so I'm gonna have to I don't want to ignore that. So I think I'm going to use a tool, a rasp. This rasp is a 4-in-hand, see it's flat on one side, rounded on the other with a kind of a thin grind and a thick grind. And that allows me to get in there and make some final adjustments. Okay, these striking tools, you want a nice connection, but this is not like a hammer where we're pounding things like nails. So it's a little less critical that we get a great fit. But I'm okay with that. You can see here, or couple little high spots. Let me just go ahead and take those out. And if we spend a few more moments now, I bet it's going to last a lot longer in the future. Okay, so we're ready to seat this. Just going to set this here, and we're going to replace that this aluminum wedge with a nice steel step wedge, much harder metal. So how do you seat one of these? Well, it's a little counterintuitive, but you get it going here. This is a little bit lightweight, this head, but if you're doing something heavy like an axe handle, this will, and I promise you, this is how it's done, will bring that head deep onto the deep onto the handle there. And I'm struggling because it's aluminum and it's pretty lightweight. So we're just gonna go the old-fashioned way. But when I seated this one, sure enough, I got in there and I pounded the bottom of the handle, and I just watched the head just work its way up onto the handle. This head's 2.5 pounds. This thing is several ounces. It's pretty light, which is why it's not working perfectly. So we're gonna add our wedge here. So I could use maybe a pencil. On the Urban Homestead, we don't like to measure, just like when we're cooking, but we do like to have some level of accuracy. So I'm gonna go to the inside of that pencil mark. I'm just gonna go ahead and use my saw here. This is a tool that I just recently purchased. It's a pull saw. And what I like about this is it allows me to pull, see, it works on the pull stroke. So that I can cut things that are kind of smaller like this. I'm going right on my workbench. This might not be a job for you, but I found it to be just kind of therapeutic to be able to take care of my kitchen tools instead of going out and buying new all the time, trying to take what I already have and improve upon it. Let's see here. Okay, and I purchased these wedges online. It was just a few dollars for these, but these can be easily made if you have woodworking knowledge. Okay. 2. Oh, I'm very happy with that connection. I don't know if you saw it spread. You can really get after it. That's much tighter already than the metal connection we had on there earlier. So I'm going to leave this standing a little proud, which means it's going to just protrude from the end just a touch. Oh, that's so sharp. Okay. Really very happy with that. Okay. So then wedge. Run the wedge in across my new wood wedge in the original handle in this direction. And that's going to do 2 things. It's going to hold that wedge, this wood wedge, in place. It's also going to spread this evenly so that it'll hold and hopefully never come out again. I'm going to just make a little bit of a pilot cut. This is something that I do to compensate for my lack of skill as a woodworker. Okay. And then this is going to go right in like that. Take my ball peen hammer. Get after it. Yes. Okay. Some nice tight connection. Okay. What a difference. Really happy with how that turned out. He's calling me while I'm working in the workshop. Okay, pull that off. Now, this is standing a little proud, but that's okay. You know, I don't really wash these in water. They never go in the dishwasher. I might just wipe them off because when I'm pounding, say, chicken or beef and flattening, I use plastic wrap over the work that I'm working with to kind of protect not only the meat but also the surface of this mallet as well. I'm going to hang on to this. I don't ever think I'll need it, but okay, a million times you said, I don't need that, throw it out, and immediately wish you still had it. One final thing is that we're going to recoat this handle. So the best thing out there for tool handles, boiled linseed oil. And what that does is it creates it absorbs into the wood and keeps the wood hydrated so that it doesn't split in the future. I find the best way to do this is just put on a rubber glove. Just kind of get this over here. That's going to protect, it's going to hydrate the wood, and it's going to keep it nice and keep it from reduce the splitting, keep it from splitting into the future. Make sure you get the ends. Sometimes I will also get that before I seat the handle. I'll put it on the inside here, but I'll let it sit overnight. It stays tacky for a while. The reason it's boiled linseed oil is because if it's not boiled, it would never dry. It would take far too long to dry, or maybe never get fully dried. You can see on the end grain here, needs quite a bit. Also gives a nice appearance. These tool handles have recently been oiled, and you can oil them frequently. So, you know, if you have a new tool handle that's made out of wood, strip off that varnish that's on there. It just takes a few minutes, and the right stuff is that boiled linseed oil. Gives it really, I think, a much nicer appearance than we had before. That handle's on there good and tight. Now I don't have to worry about that flying off. I would hate for one of these handles to come flying off in the middle of a cooking class with customers. Of course, you can feel it get so loose and it rattles around, but it just felt dangerous to me. It didn't feel like we were, that it was going to hold on nice and tight throughout the cooking experience. And then also, you know, like I said, I've purchased 3 of these now, and each one of them has come loose. So then I realized, you know, maybe this connection isn't really the highest quality, and it's not. But you know, of course, manufacturers of kitchen mallets, they're not making tools with really high quality connections like an axe or a whole ball peen hammer in my bag. So no, I think this is going to last a lifetime. I think it's on there. It's going to be really a joy to use. And then when I go to use it, when I'm prepping my own laboratory, if I'm working in people's homes and I pick it up, it's just going to be a little bit of me, a little bit of the work that we put into it. It's going to be there. It's going to make that tool more special. It should last a lifetime. This is Chef Mark. I'm on the Urban Homestead. Thanks for tuning in. A little something new. Hope to bring you a few more of these projects as they come up. As I find things that apply to the kitchen, apply to the tools that we use. Occasionally we'll be in here. Hopefully it won't be as cold. Hopefully it won't be bundled up like we are right now. Make sure you subscribe. Thanks for being here.